Folks, we'll give it 2 more minutes to let everybody sign on. I see a bunch of people signing on now. Please make sure your first and last name are on your screen so Tiffany can take attendance. We have to document it as part of our return to play guidelines. You can change your name in the upper right-hand corner by clicking on the 3 dots in your screen and clicking on rename. Make sure you got your first and last name in there for me. Again, we'll just give it 1 more minute. If you can, you have to update your screen with your first and last name. Some of you just have your first names on there or an email address or a phone number. Tiffany's taking attendance for us so that we can document that as part of the return to play guidelines for Baltimore County. So please update your screens. All right, we're going to head and get things going here. The goal tonight is to get through a lot of information that hopefully will get us on the fields eventually at some point. Give you a couple quick updates and, provide some insight and guidance here. So again, just one last time for any of you that are just joining, please make sure your first and last name is on the screen, your screen name, so Tiffany can take attendance. We just have to document who all was on the call as part of the return to play guidelines for Baltimore County. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and then we'll do questions as we go along or at the very end if you have any. Second. All right, so just a quick update financially. Got an update from Sherry today. So she's already processed 8 teams that were, basically younger teams that had all their credits and refunds in. So their refund checks have been mailed to their parents. The rest will be finished by roughly 6/20 and mailed. So everyone, as promised, should receive their refunds for their team by July 1st. It's what we originally communicated back in March. So we're right on schedule. Keep in mind, Sherry is processing over 750 checks just for our club. She also handles all the checks in the recreation program. So, you know, if anyone needs to contact Sherry to sort some things out, make sure it's either your manager or you. It shouldn't be parents. Okay. So any credits that the leagues or tournaments or you didn't register for that was left in there will be sent back. Any leftover balance that was from fundraising or, you know, misbudgeting, whatever it was, that the leftover balance must be used by the end of June, Sherry said. So that's, you know, if you need to purchase balls, whatever it is, equipment, you guys know the drill on that one. So just please communicate to your parents. They'll have their checks by 7/1. All right, so let's talk about getting back onto the field. So late last week, the governor and then county councilman said we could slowly but surely get back on fields. Baltimore County Rec and Parks had a big meeting Monday night, and then we received, and the local rec leaders received all that information late Tuesday. Okay, so today is Thursday. We've had 48 hours to process some of it, but we want you to understand what all is entailed in this. So these are some of the bullet points, right? These aren't all of them, trust me. So we want you to understand why we're not out on the field yet. So the guidelines are everything is 10 or less, including coaches. Okay? For right now, it's 10 to a half a field, no matter if it's an 11v11 field, 9v9 field, or 7v7 field. So 20 total people can be on a field. There's no switching groups. You can't rotate groups between players of coach. So no one who starts off in a group of 10 can then say a coach goes and watches another group of 10. Can't do it. Okay? If you want more than one coach to see a group of players, you have to start with, say, 2 coaches in a group, and they're watching those eight players for the entire session. Another hurdle that we have to get over is the groups must arrive in 15-minute intervals. Okay? So we can't have people coming or going at the same time. So think of those logistics a little bit when you have groups of 60, 70, and upwards of 100 registered in some age groups. Just talking about tryouts. Players and staff will have temperatures checked at the arrival and at the end of each session. We also have to log this. A log must be kept and retained in case anything happens. Okay? All staff.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Mike's Terry, just for a second. Besides the temperature, I think that we have to ask the questions too. That, like, if you're going in the doctor's office, there'll be a series of questions that have to be answered.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So there's more than just the bullets. I'm just giving the highlights. These will all be on the information we send out. So great point, Terry. So all players must wear a face covering the entire session. I'm sorry, staff must wear a face covering the entire session. Right now, they're saying players should wear one as well, 9 and older, but Ed Baranek, our recreation president, is getting clarification on that. Okay, so that may not stick for the entire time. They may just need to wear it when they arrive and they leave. We're getting clarification there. Players should bring their own ball. Obviously, we're not doing anything that involves contact, so we shouldn't be passing out pennies, but definitely players should not share pennies at any point. And parents and players are going to need to sign a waiver before they step on the field, and actually before they'll even approve our permits to get on the fields. Another note, so the number of 10 players in a group and 20 total on a field includes parents. Okay, so parents have to stay away from the field. We'll work out logistics once we get a little clarification on that, but parents can't be standing on the sidelines of the field and so forth. It's going to have to be a drop and pick up system, or if you're at a regional park, they're off walking or something like that. So I wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that are going to be in place once we do get back to a field. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a document here. So we have a checklist for Baltimore Union as well, and Tiffany was kind enough to put it into a Google Doc that we'll be able to track. Each coach has done it. Okay, so these are some of the questions on it, right? Tonight, did you attend tonight's meeting? Great. Baltimore County Rec and Parks safety guidelines explained and ready and read by coach, right? So those are going to be sent to you. Have you reviewed the CDC youth sports guidelines? There's the link. You understand that youth athletes and volunteers are sick, may not attend practices. I'm not going to read every one of these to you, but this is something you're going to have to go in and do, right? Here's another link that you have to read, the MSYSA return to play guidelines. You've read and understand the ECNL return to play guidelines. You'll report if any player is noticeably sick to the trainer or on-site coordinator once we get out there. You'll thoroughly clean and sanitize all balls and equipment before, during, and after training. You know, you pledge that you'll be a leader and follow these safety instructions for the health of the staff and everyone involved. And you'll obviously have to sign it. So there's some homework on your end this weekend. Our goal is for all of you to complete these steps this weekend, plus a couple additional things that we'll attach in the email we send to you. So it's probably about 10 to 15 items that you'll have to knock out if you want to get onto a field. Okay? And it's not just the head coach, it's the assistant coaches. It's, you know, if you have somebody you trust that you bring in to observe players, you're going to have to pass this along to them as well and let us know so we can document it. Anyone that's going onto a field, okay? All right, so when will tryouts start? Last week, we thought things were going to be a little easier, and we targeted this weekend. It's not going to happen, all right? So along with all the parameters that we're working on the back end, Terry had to file for new permits. So any permits that were in place, Baltimore County said they're no longer valid. So he has to go and file new permits. There's a lot of things that go into getting that permit approved, right? There's a checklist of items that the club needs to do as well, and the rec. The county leaders just had all this dumped on them as well. So, you know, we've got to be a little bit patient. One of the things that I think we have to understand is our goal is to have a safe tryout, right? We don't want one coach, one player, one staff member, one parent, anyone getting sick because we rush to a field to you know, pick teams. You know, I was just reading today about the MLS. The MLS, you know, is just now getting to a point where they can have contact in practice, right? So we're talking about professionals here in America. So keep that in perspective when we're talking about, you know, our youth that are involved in our club in this area. I know just across the line in other counties, they're ahead of us. That's something that none of us can help. We have to be patient with this if we want to do it the right way, because we don't want to be the club where someone got sick, hey guys, or someone dies, okay? Let's say. And so this is all about liability. The county, the club, you, right? Whoever it is. As far as a tryout schedule, once we do have dates, right? Obviously, it's not going to be this weekend. And as soon as Terry has the permits, he's going to let me know, and then we'll communicate to you. But the youngest groups will go first. We'll get them out of the way. For those of you involved in the ECNL or the Girls Academy, those will take place just before the 11v11 age groups at a separate site. So that those players, if they don't make that team, they can filter into the 11v11 age groups, okay? You know, right now, it's a time to lead. Some of you aren't communicating with your teams. I'm hearing from your parents. Some of you are doing an outstanding job. I love it. Keep doing it, right? But over-communicate. No one should leave this call tonight and then a parent asks a question and you say you don't know, okay? Stand by the club and its mission to protect the players, all right? That's our ultimate goal. That's why we're taking our time with this. We're not rushing. All these things are in place, okay? And listen, you can't get off of this call and call your buddy and say, man, I'm not doing that stuff. It's stupid. You simply won't be allowed to coach, okay? It's not time to be selfish. It's not time to be selfish at all, okay? We want everybody to be safe. We eventually want to get on the field. And we don't want to be that program that rush to the fields just so we can get a player, okay? If any of you are at risk of losing a player, call me. We'll talk about how to keep them. All right, let me get rid of that. So you're going to get an email. It's going to have the Google Doc with the checklist in it, which is about 10 to 12 items. It's going to have additional items that are from the county, okay, with links of videos, as well as some reading material, you've got to knock all of it out. Okay, that's the bottom line. There's no, hey, Mike, I did this for work. Does this get, no. Okay, I wish. All right, we've got to knock it all out. We have to be leaders here. Not tell the parents, hey, the club's dragging their feet on this. Nah, we simply want to do it the right way, and we want to stay in the good graces of Baltimore County Rec and Parks because they ultimately help our club, right? They ultimately help our club. They provide the fields. They provide protection for the players, insurance, you name it. Okay, so we're doing our best to do it the right way. It may seem slow, okay, but the one thing I think you can take, away from this is that we're doing it the right way. Terry, did you have anything that you wanted to add as far as,
I have a comment about, the other counties. They may have started and allowed people in the fields, and sometimes they just turned their back. But the rules of distancing, no scrimmages, is not a Baltimore County thing. That is a state of Maryland thing. So they have the same requirements of distancing. If they're not doing it, well, I don't know what to say. I mean, sometimes they get away with it or somebody's going to come down to it. So as far as we can't have scrimmages, we can't have that, that is all the counties in the state of Maryland. No county can go further than what the state says. I don't like it any more than anybody else, but this is what we have to live with. And so,
thanks, Terry.
And there are other documents. The MSYSA document that Mike listed just referenced, we had to modify it for us. It was a template, but it's essentially the same document. And I think I sent it over to you, Mike.
There's a whole sheet here that we as a club have to do, just like you have to do, right? It's a checklist, and we're all, the club's checking off each box to get prepared. There's going to be hand sanitizer that'll be at all the fields that the rec program is purchasing. We're going to purchase some as a club as well. We needed to purchase thermometers, right, to be able to make this happen. I was on the phone with the MedStar folks today to make sure, that they are able to accommodate us and help us with that, as well as the rec program bought some of those as well. So, there's a lot of layers to this. We need to be smart. We're going to put all the information we can out there for you to make sure you're as educated as possible. I hate to be the hand holder and say, you got to check a box, things like that. But again, it's a liability thing. And I don't think any of us want to lose our home or this club or whatever we have that's valuable to us because we didn't follow the protocols or the guidelines and someone got sick because of it. Because as we all know, there's people out there, they're going to be standing there with their video cameras on their phones, taking pictures and blasting us on social media if we get this wrong. Okay. So it's the last thing that we want. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for any questions you might have. If anybody has questions, feel free to shoot. No, pretty straightforward.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah. Yep.
Mike V here.
Hi, Mike.
You said shoot. You said shoot. I guess we can't shoot at a goalie because she would have to touch somebody else's ball, right?
We're going to get clarification on that.
Okay.
As of right now, that's a no.
That's even under MSYSA and USYSA. Shooting at a goalkeeper is not allowed at this point.
All right.
No touching of the ball with hands.
Yeah, and even when we can shoot, we can have drills between players. Like Mike said, they won't be allowed to pick up the balls, and we have to follow it. God forbid, we don't follow it. Somebody's sitting up on top of a hill watching us and then blasts us, or goes to the county executive and they pull everything. Just not for us, but for every damn program.
So we can shoot. We can shoot. We just have to tell our goalie not to touch the ball, not to save anything.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Hey, Mike, can we get a copy of the deck that you went through, just so we have it when we're conveying this message over to our team?
Yep. You guys are going to get a copy of everything. Yep.
Perfect.
So imagine this, okay? And this is why I'm saying I don't know why we're really in the rush. I had a thought over the weekend about this. Why we're in the rush to have the tryouts. You're going to have to select players based off watching them dribble, watching them pass unopposed, and watching shooting on a goal with no goalkeeper. So you're not going to be able to see if they can handle speed of play, play in tight spaces, make good decisions, things like that. So it's going to be a tricky process. I think phase 3 is where we get to some contact. So that's weeks away. So keep those things in mind. That's why I've asked all of you to have your age group meeting. Hopefully you've had that by now. It was a week ago we asked. Begin to rank players. And like I said, if you have some players that you need to lock in, give me a call and we'll talk about the best way to do that. And we can move forward with it. But we're going to email this out to you. You'll have it by first thing tomorrow morning, probably tonight, but I'll give myself till tomorrow morning with all the information that you need, all the checklists, all the documents you need to read, and all the links to any videos or any other documents you need to read. I just ask you, please, there's 83 of you on this call, so there's about 10 of you not on it, right? So we got to track them down already. But please, I don't want to send out the daily email starting Monday. Hey, I'm going to pick on Dan Huff. Dan Huff, you haven't completed your MSYSA, training or whatever it is. It's an impossible task. But I can promise you, if you're on that list, because the Google Doc will track it, you won't be led on the field at your tryout or practice, whatever we get back to first. Okay? So wish we had a little bit better news here. Terry is doing everything he can on his part to get the permits in for us and get us on fields. So as soon as he hears something, he'll call me, and then we'll call you guys and let you know, what date range we're looking at. Okay, and hopefully we'll hear something in the next couple of days. So we wanted to pass everything along to you tonight. The first part of it is you got to complete your checklist to get back out onto the field for yourself. And in the meantime, I can promise you, Terry and the other, Rick Townley, Ed Baranek, and all the members of the board are working behind the scenes to get us where we need to be as a club to get back onto the field. If you got questions, you can hang on. At this point, I don't want to take any more of your evening. I wanted this to be short and sweet. So if you want to hang on, I'll hang on and answer any questions. But thank you. Please look for your email. If you don't have it by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, send me a text because it's in your junk or you didn't get it. Okay?
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Mike, Jeff Kleiman. Quick question. Is that email also going to have the waivers that the players need to sign so we can be proactive and get that in the work? So
that's a good question. So we are waiting to see if the players can, or the parents or players can sign that electronically. And we're waiting on confirmation from the county's lawyers for that. So that email probably won't have that in it. That'll have to be sent separately to the players and registrants. Good question.
Do we have an idea of what fields we'll have and what space we'll get to use for tryouts?
We have no idea yet. Terry's put in for permits and we have to have them approved. So once again, you'll have 10 people to a half of a field. So that gives you a good idea. That's all we're allowed. Okay.
So I'm asking for the normal fields. I mean, part of the problem is like Perry Hall High and CCBC are schools, and they haven't released the fields to Baltimore County yet. So turf is like honey go, but then we were looking at Cowington and Nottingham for the younger kids because we have the space there and it's a little easier to control. Yeah. Maybe Mount Vista to start off with to get the younger ones done. I still ask for the turf field, but I'm not the only one asking for those either.
Dan,
the grass fields we can
control.
You in Mount Vista, they're the ones we use all the time.
Sorry, Terry.
I didn't hear.
Hey, if you need to hop up, hop off, no problem. If you have questions, just go ahead and hang on, and we'll answer them one by one.
Mike, will the players be able to pass the ball back and forth with their feet if they don't pick it up?
Yes.
Not now.
Not
I don't
now?
think not now.
No, you can pass back and forth with your feet.
As long as you're within your box and your distance.
As long as they're properly distanced. Yep.
We need to double check that because I don't think this phase has that.
Ed said on the call
crazy.
they could do it.
Huh?
Ed said on the call the other night they could do it.
All right.
Hey, Mike, this is Sock. I was wondering, do you think it might be a good idea to put out a one-page template about the type of drills that we should be adhering to?
Yeah, we'll get out some exercises that we think are, probably going to help you keep socially distanced and that are approved.
Just to make sure we don't slide into something that might be questionable and get us in trouble.
Yep.
Mike, who's making the
Terry.
determinations on the players wearing masks?
Probably our lawyers. I don't know. Somebody at the county level, not myself, but.
So we got no control over that because I can't see kids playing soccer with a mask. I can't even walk up the steps with a mask, and I wear it all day long for 8 hours. It's not even safe.
It doesn't say you have to wear a mask to play, just
Okay.
arrive and leave.
Yeah.
Just
So
to get
I
to and from.
don't disagree with you, Krista, but in order for us to get out on the field, we have to do what the county lawyers say. And if we deem wearing a mask for kids isn't appropriate while they're on the field, then we don't have to go out on the field. So, but I'm just passing along what you guys say. I mean, what the lawyers say.
Right now, one of the documents is essentially the county document says, oh, geez, I was just reading it. It says they should wear a face mask if they can be worn safely and consistently. Children 9 and older should wear a face mask. So when they're running around doing drills and they're spaced out, I think, proper social distance, and I think we'll be fine without face masks.
Okay, fine.
And then volunteers, participants, parents should wear face masks, coverings
Yeah,
when
that's fine.
participants are arriving and leaving. But
That
if
makes
you're going
sense.
to walk, as a coach, walk into the space and talk to the kid, you're probably better off putting your mask on then.
Yeah, I
If
just
you're
mean
in
the
this
kids
area
that-
that you're yelling at all the kids, I think you can be okay without
Yeah.
a mask.
I just mean the kids that are actually, getting some kind of workout in. It's not safe.
Yeah, that's what I said, safely and consistently. So we can
Okay.
say it's not safe for them to wear a mask when they're exercising heavily.
Okay, perfect.
Mike, Terry, is there any opposition or downfall to proactively sharing the MSYSA guidelines, return to play guidelines with our parents so that we
No,
can
they
level
can do
set
that. And we get what I modified. Well, it's the same thing. If you read MSYSA, they'll say it's a template for clubs. We rewrote it because I had to rewrite it for Monday's president's meeting to say it was from our organization, but it's essentially the same document.
Okay, I'm just trying to level
Certain
set
stuff pulled out, it
expectations.
refers to us instead of MSYSA, but it's the
Got it.
same regulations. No, that's posted on their site. They can go look at it now.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
The whole temperature thing, is that going to be like the forehead temperature thing?
Yeah.
Weird question, but if you have money left in your budget, should you buy one?
No, I don't think you need to do that. Between what
Okay.
the rec will have and we're going to have MedStar there, they're going to have them as well.
Okay.
If it gets to a point where, we get into the practice time after tryouts, and we're still required to do it, then maybe we'll look into that. And that's not a
No,
bad question.
I would prefer that you guys don't have to do that. That we have some way that we, if we're at one site, everybody has to report here before they walk on the field. So you don't have to worry about that. You have enough to worry about making sure the kids are spaced out, separated. 1970 person spaced out. Anyway.
Thanks.
What's the cutoff for the temperature? Like if you're taking someone's temperature,
We believe it's 100. They're
100 from what I've read from CDC.
And the coaches are going to be required to log this information, or Terry, I think you said in an ideal world that we'd have a temperature check station.
Yeah, we're hoping not to have the coaches do it.
Okay.
We're going to, especially for the tryouts.
Yeah, so
So
that
we
all
have to get
depends
somebody.
So I'll say that
actually
all
do it.
depends on volunteers, guys. So we hope to have MedStar cover most of the tryouts. Obviously that can, it's not always possible based on their staffing and how much notice we give them. And right now we don't know when they'll be. But, we also might need someone, a coach, manager, somebody to step up and do that. We hope not to do it, but. Any other questions, folks?
Hey, Mike. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Don.
Are you going to send correspondence out with this to all the registered players, or should we contact the ones that using the contact list you gave us with all the registered kids for tryouts and let them all know?
I'm going to send something out to our club, so all our parents, and I'm going to send something out to the tryout list tomorrow.
Okay, got it.
It's part of the thing. We have to have a communication plan to you guys, to parents, to players. It's a requirement that we have to have as a club.
Are you going to also let the players know, if they want to try out for an academy team, that there'll be a separate tryout for that, and they should identify themselves in some way that that's what they want to, okay.
Yep. The biggest thing is we haven't sent a lot of communication out with that stuff, Gus, because we don't know when or where, right? So.
Mike, also, I would assume we're not doing like shirts for tryouts this year.
No, we can't do it.
Where like
they can wear whatever they can wear whatever they want.
Okay.
There's going to be 10 of them. You'll be able to figure out who's who.
There'll be 8 of them, to tell you the truth, if it's you and your assistant coach. But 8 of them multiple times,
And question about that. So if we have 8 players and 2 coaches on the field, what about coaches that are on, or can they stand, can they say a classic or a select coach stand at a distance to evaluate, or what are the parameters around that?
So we're getting some clarification on that, right? Right now, it's just the coach and 9 players. If there's 2 coaches, it's 8 players. If there's 3 coaches, it's 7 players. So we're getting clarification on if someone is properly socially, or if a coach is socially distanced, if they're able to stand in one spot, not interact with any groups, and observe. So as of right now, that would be a no, but we're getting clarification on that.
Understood. Thanks.
Yep. Jeff, you reached your question quota, by the way, for the 2012 boys.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Yes.
Mike, it's Tiffany. And also we might want to clarify that, like in past years, how managers are on the side, we don't want any managers or anything on the fields because they're not participating in any of these meetings or anything like that. They usually are sometimes down on the track and things like that. And I mean, they're going to be counted. So we want to make sure that that's clarified with your managers.
Yep.
Mike?
Yes.
Can a coach stand off to the side of the field or stand near the parents and observe from a distance?
So parents won't be allowed down near the fields. They add to the number count. And that's basically just what Jeff asked. So we have to get clarification on if someone can stand, 30 yards away and watch, but they're not a part of any of the groups. The problem is what they don't want is someone going and interacting with multiple groups, right? So that's what they don't want, right? So if I'm standing off to the side watching 2 groups and I walk over to you, Coach Gill, and whisper something, and then I walk over to Coach Gus a minute later and I whisper something, then technically I'm spreading, right? If I were sick or somebody was sick, we're spreading to 2 different groups. So the goal is for us not to interact with any more than the group that we have. So again, we're waiting for some clarification. If somebody can just stand up in the ivory tower and watch and not interact with anybody, but oversee and take notes, that one's one we got to get back to you on. So we'll have a lot of information over the coming days. We're getting a little bit each day. We just got this bulk of it. Like I said, Tuesday evening, Terry? We got a lot of this, and we hopped on a quick call Tuesday evening, just a few of us, to get some clarification. Ed went and got answers to some of the questions already, and we were able to share them with you today. He's working on some others. So we'll have more information by the day, and to be honest, there might be some items added to your checklist as we go along. But for right now, it's that initial checklist of items that we got to knock out. There's still, like I said, probably 5 to 10 questions that we need to get answers to or clarification on. And then as soon as we hear some dates, we will we'll have them for you. But again, keep in mind, the things that you can and can't do are pretty clear. So keep that in mind when starting to do some planning for your tryouts. And like Sook suggested, I do have some exercises that we'll be sending out, especially to the younger ones that are, more age appropriate. Somebody sent me a question on the chat about buying union face masks. So we are actually, Tiffany was talking with Tom Jones, who owns Swag Dog, about that. I think it takes a couple weeks to get them in, but we are in talks with getting some of them. For now, I would make sure, because we'll hopefully be on a field before those come in, that you have something to cover your face. There's also, we were told, going to be monitors, to oversee things where they know, obviously they know because they issue the permits where we'll be. So, they'll be there keeping things, kosher. So, that's and rightfully so. Any other questions? I'm going to wrap up here in 2 minutes if we don't have any more questions. No? All right. Well, hey, if you want to give me a buzz tomorrow, don't call me tonight. I won't answer, or my wife will kill me. But if you want to give me a buzz tomorrow and chat, no problem. Terry's always available for you, or anybody on the board. So feel free to reach out. But we'll send out all that information we promised you, and probably some more. So keep an eye on your email. Don't ignore the emails. Keep an eye on it. It's the easiest way to chat and forward information to you guys and girls. So thanks for hopping on. I know it's late, but we're just trying to get everything out to you as much as we can without repeating ourselves and doing double the work. All right. Thanks for everybody getting on. Terry, thanks for your help, bud. And we'll see everybody soon.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks.